Now I'm going to show you how to install Active Directories on Windows Server 2008. Now you have to remember, if you have more than one server, you have to highlight the services you want to open. Now you could double click on it and it'll start, or you could just click the nice green start button and there your mouse needs to be captured, so you click OK and the virtual machine will be starting. Now that your Control-Delete logon has come up, now you can press Control-Delete, or you can click on your machine and click on Insert Control-Delete. And there your administrator name comes up and tells you to enter your password. Now before, remember, we had to have a very elaborate password. This is so that it is safe for you and not easily hacked, as you will be the administrator to this server. Click enter. So there are two ways to actually start your server manager. You can click on start and then click on service manager. Or when you're first installing your Windows 2008 server, the initial configuration window comes up. So now that you have gotten your initial configuration task screen, we are going to add role under your customize this server. This is where you're going to add your Active Directories. So before you begin, it asks you to verify that you have a strong password, installing encryption and caps and numbers and characters, and that your IP addresses are configured and the latest security updates on Windows are installed. Because this was, it helps you to install roles on this server. You determine which roles to install based on the tasks you want the server to perform. Or you can skip this page by default. Click next. But have other roles you could activate on this server, but we'll get that into later videos. So you make sure you check your Active Directory Domain Services box, and then you click next. Here your Active Directory Domain Services screen comes up and it tells you the introduction to the Active Directories. And it asks you for things to note, for instance, to help ensure that all users can still log on to the network in case of a server outage. Install a minimum of 2 domain controllers for a domain. Also, a DNS server has to be installed on the network. After you install the Active Directory Domain Server role, use the Active Directory Domain Server Installation Wizard DC promo to make the server fully functional domain controller. Installing ADDS also will install the DFS namespace, DFS replication, DF replication services, which are required by the directory service. This is very interesting to read. This has an overview, the installing, and common configurations for your Active Directory domain server. Click next. So here on the confirm installation selection screen, this is to install the following roles, services or features. Now it'll tell you the server will be restarted after the installation completes, and after you install the Active Directory Domain Services, use the Active Directory Domain Services Installation Wizard DC promo to make sure the server is a fully functioning domain controller. So here you click install. Now the only reason why it is that they're reminding you over and over to install the DC promo is that in previous versions of the server you had to run it. Here they're trying to remind you to do it because it is very important to have a proper fully functional server. Now the installation process may take a couple of minutes to install, so while this is installing you'll also see different messages along the bottom of the window next to the hourglass, and you see the installation process is starting by initializing the installation. The only reason why it's so important and so heavily based that you do run this wizard is that in previous versions you had to run the DC promo and now you have to install it. So they just want to make sure that you do not forget that this is an important part of the installation process, else your server will not run how it's supposed to or how you want it set up. Now the installation process may take a while,